Okay.
Ooh, that was good.
Welcome to podcast number 3. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about family time.
Official. Love it.
Someone want to get started with what family time is?
All right, Marchie.
So family time basically consists of all of us kids in Mega Powers and our ELTs. All of us, different cliques, different everything, brought us together, and that's where we just talk about how our week was, what went well, things that we need to work on, things that went bad, and we're all there to be with each other.
How were the families made?
They were randomly generated by the teachers, and they just kind of put them up on the board. And so then we just had to look for our families, and then our first day we just started to hang out with each other.
How about this? What did you guys feel? How did you guys feel when you got put in a family?
First, I was like, oh, people.
Yeah,
It's a study hall, man.
It was people I'd never talked to, would talk to,
Sure.
which was kind of weird.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's nice getting to talk to other people, and it's people you would never see yourself talking to outside of school.
So at first, some of you were intimidated maybe by it?
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of awkward maybe too in a way.
Yeah, so Harmony's in my family, right? Yeah. And me and Harmony don't really talk that often,
No.
but now that we're in a family, I guess we talk a little bit more than we used to, right?
That's what
And
matters.
here we are in a podcast
Oh,
together.
right!
They're actually best friends.
Yeah, we're best
Yeah.
friends now.
We go get ice cream every day.
Yeah, we go get Starbucks at Target.
Oh, yeah.
When do the family times meet? When do you get to see and meet up with your family?
Fridays?
And Mondays, right?
Fridays and Mondays?
And Fridays, I think it is.
And then, what are some of the activities that we do?
So the last activity I think that we did together was we were making a family name and a guild to show where we were at. And then I'll say, for example, mine and Harmony's, ours was it shopping with my cats.
Yep, shopping with my cat.
And we had Grumpy Cat in a Target shopping cart because apparently Target was our symbol, right?
Yeah.
Was that the card things? I missed that day.
No,
what was the card things about?
Yeah, right? I wasn't there.
Okay, so you guys want to talk a little bit more about how, what the point of the, the crest and the motto and all that was, you want to talk more about that so some of these people that weren't there know?
The crest and the motto?
What you guys created, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of just to represent our families, and so we were just mostly saying our family is this, we have this in common, we share these similarities, and it's something that you can identify us as a group.
Wait, you guys at Target?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
because
shopping.
Yeah.
You like shopping?
With my family, yes.
My cats, duh.
Yeah, no, that was our motto: shopping with my cats.
Yeah, picking up some goldfish.
Yeah. Shopping cats.
Yeah,
A cat in Target?
I think it's
Mochi's got a seeing eye cat.
seeing iCat. I feel like he would just lead me off a cliff.
Oh boy, cats are vicious.
Oh yeah.
How about, so you guys shared kind of about your family crest and kind of what you guys did. How about some others share what you guys have?
My group didn't follow the directions at all. We
Okay.
didn't even read the directions.
Yeah, perfect.
We saw that there were things and we put them on the thing, and we went back and looked at it at the end, and we were like, wait, there's directions here. Hold up a minute.
That's
we did
okay.
everything wrong.
That's okay.
For me, I didn't personally like the people in my first family, so I never joined them, so I missed out on a lot of stuff.
But you're in a family now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's that going?
I mean, I missed all the fun stuff we do. I've only been to the things where we talk about what we did over the weekend. It's the only thing I've done with my families.
Okay. But there's more opportunities to come.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Wasn't kind of a family activity when we did the direction thing?
Yeah. Why don't you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit, Faith?
Well, at first I was nervous to step in and trying to find the paths because I didn't want people to get mad at me if I messed up. But then after the first time and after seeing people how everyone had to participate, it was like kind of easy, and then like I felt more comfortable trying to find like a direction. And then like at the end when Miss Wallerstein was talking about like the meaning of it, it was like actually kind of like true, like how like life like takes you in a bunch of different like directions, and like sometimes it's, you get stuck and then you have to turn around. Sorry, you get stuck and then you have to turn around, and then eventually you find like the path, and like people helped you, which was nice.
Yeah, I think that's really
Mhm.
insightful. And does anybody else want to talk about that or explain what that activity was that was there? Some of you weren't there.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
So Faith was there. Was anyone else there other than
I
Faith?
was there.
Okay, so what did how did it go for you, and what can we set up the activity real quick?
Well, I mean, my group figured out that the smartest way to do it was to let the other groups attempt things and then just figure it out based on them putting stuff down.
Interesting.
What?
So like
This
we
is
just
the card flipping thing or whatever?
This okay. So can we explain what
Yeah.
it was?
so it was a bunch of pieces of paper in a big square,
Yes, and they're like
and
blue.
you had to follow a path across the paper, and it was a set path, and all the group's paths were the same. So my group just said, okay, let's just run people and let the group behind us also run people and watch their people,
So-
and then
Yeah. So we put down 64
yeah,
sheets
I
of
couldn't
computer
remember how many
paper.
it
8x8?
was.
Yeah, 8x8, right? So we had 3 grids set up, and myself, Sale, and Wollersheim all ran a grid. We gave everybody basic directions on how this would work. And so we said that there's a path across, and each person has to participate. When they step on a square, we'll either tell them, yep, that's correct, or nope, it's not. They could keep going. When they stepped on a wrong grid, they had to go the same way out that they came in. Groups could work together to try to figure out what that path was. Everybody had to attempt it, right, until they figured out the path all the way across. Then everybody had to get across to be done, and it was kind of a competition a little bit too, to see who could be the first team across all the way across and what time they got on getting everybody across. So and like Faith mentioned, it was, people had to work together. It was like a team kind of building exercise, but like she mentioned, it was symbolic as well, right? Like representing, man, there's a lot of different paths that we all take through life. Sometimes we hit a roadblock
Yeah.
and have to go backwards before we can go forwards again. Sometimes great things happen and we go 8 steps forward, and then some crappy things happen and we go a few steps back. And everybody's path looks different, but bottom line is it's never perfect. It's never always easy, right? And we can also share a lot of common experiences that maybe we wouldn't normally think, like, oh, that person probably has never experienced something like this, because we judge based on what we see outwardly, or we just assume this about people. But as we continue to get to know each other, hopefully in these families, that you'll realize that you have a lot more allies than you realize, and a lot of people have experienced things that are similar to what you have, and that creates a togetherness that you didn't even know was possible, maybe, right? So, what was the card thing that you were mentioning? It's different.
That's what you were talking
It was
about.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I saw pictures of it, but I wasn't there for that.
Got it.
Which family won?
That's what he's worried about.
So good question, Kong. So we split families into groups, so it wasn't just
In
one
Mega
family
Powers,
versus one
everyone's a
family.
winner.
Yeah, there you go. Nice, Erosa. But the group the group of families that I had was first.
Yeah, I was in it. So.
Yeah, you were. Give me some.
I feel left
So,
out.
Mr.
I know,
Hansen,
right? Not a winner.
starting from the beginning of the year, what did you want family time to be versus what do you expect it to be coming in the next semester?
So it's a great question. So here's the thing, we were trying to brainstorm as teachers, right? So Sale and Dubs and myself, how do we get you guys to, we have 68 kids in ELT. That's a lot of kids, right? That's a lot of people. And it probably was, and you guys can talk to this in a minute, probably pretty overwhelming in the first week or two.
Yeah.
Maybe more than a week or two, right? Because there's so
Walk
many
in and you're
people,
like,
right?
"Whoa."
Like, holy crap, this is so many people, and I don't know very many of them, or, there's 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders in there, so it's like, if they're not part of that group, then I probably don't know them very well. And if they're not part of a group that I normally hang with, I probably don't know them very well. Or I've seen them in the hallways and I assume these things about them, so I don't maybe want to know, whatever it might be. So we talked about how do we get a group of 68 kids to start making connections and to start kind of organically creating relationships and move from there. So Mrs. Wollersheim, to her credit, came up with the idea of family time and groups. We kind of, at first we're like, well, what if we get them into groups? And she's like, let's call them families. And we love the idea because the idea of a family is a close-knit group of people, right? Like that's the hope and the purpose of a family, right? And so we thought that was a great term to use. So then, like we talked about earlier, it was how do we get these people together? Like who goes together in these groups? And we tried to make it very diverse if we could, because what we didn't want was a bunch of friends together, okay? Because that's a very different thing when you have a bunch of your own friends together, right? And so we try to do our best splitting you up into a diverse group in a family, right? And the hope is that as we move through the end of this semester and into next, that we can take some of these fun activities where you've started to get to know each other a little bit more. And as we get to know each other better and feel more comfortable with each other, that we could start kind of pushing the conversation and pushing your boundaries a bit and testing your boundaries a bit. Can you start opening up a little bit with each other? Can you share some common experiences with each other? Life things that you've overcome or things that you deal with, or again, to realize that you're all pretty similar. You all have probably dealt with some similar things, even though you don't think that maybe. And to build community, that you guys are hopefully allies of each other, right? That you have people that you're comfortable talking to about some of the things that maybe you're dealing with. It's almost like a support group in a way, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what a family is meant to be. And that's our hope and vision for it. So what are your thoughts on what I just laid down on you?
I think it sounds about right.
So I like when you said that everybody's so similar, right? But also, like, people are very different. Like, me and Harmony, like, we're different people.
Yep.
I think Harmony's kind of like a sweet, quiet person, but me, however, I'm a rowdy kind of guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the loud voice, right?
And a Honda.
Yeah, and a Honda.
Honda brothers, unite.
We both got a cord
Yeah.
too.
Wait, can I join the group?
Do you got a cord?
Yep.
There you go. Look at that.
Let's go.
Whoa!
See.
Oh, he just got.
You guys
rid
are
of
going to be
his.
in
Oh,
your
it's still here.
Honda Accord gang.
Yeah.
Over here. It's running.
But still, that's like the point. Like, we're all so similar, but we can all be so different at the same time. And I think by putting us all together, we get a good mix of personalities. That way, we get a feel for whoever and everybody is, right? Mm-hmm. I got Claire in my group. She's like athletic and she's pretty good at sports, I guess. Then Mary, she's a nice person. She likes band and singing and all that kind of stuff. Harmony, she's just straight chilling.
That's it.
Leah, I think is her name. Leah, she's kind of quiet.
But she's like new this
Yeah,
year,
but
so
she's
it's
new.
like super exciting to like get to like start to get to know her more then that way.
And then we also have Ryder in her, so we got a good mix of conch, athleticism, minorities. But we got a good mix of people, and I'm really proud of my family because we're able to click so well.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool what you said, because I didn't say that, but that's part of the big point too, is to like, even though there's a bunch of differences, to bring you together as a group, right? Like, and to celebrate those differences. Those differences aren't bad. Like, they're not bad things. Those are awesome things because they make you, right?
Yeah.
And let's celebrate those cool things that you have uniquely, and you have uniquely, and you have uniquely, and you have uniquely. You know what I mean? And I think that's a perfect organic piece of then the greater thing, which is when you are out in the community, when you're out after high school, whatever career you choose, like the hope is that you can get along with people that are different than you and recognize that those are great things and celebrate those things about people. Like, hey, they're, I'm not really that into country stuff, but like they are, and that's great. That's good. And that's cool. We can talk about those things though, because I've already had experience talking to someone about, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
What a cool opportunity. What have some other people's thoughts on what we just talked about?
Are you sure you're not as conscious Raider? I mean, look at that music video you made. Huh?
Yeah, you are a music video star in the country scene there. I have seen that.
I do like country. Yeah.
Link in the bio.
I just like it talking during family time because I just like talking, period. I don't know. I love talking to people, and it's just nice getting to see other people's views. And like I personally don't hunt, and like what's his name, Grant, I can't think,
Ortel, yep.
He's talking about how he went hunting and his big old truck, and like we're all cracking up, and it's nice to see what other people are doing outside of school than just video games and school.
Did he get anything?
I don't know. I mean,
Might have to ask him next time.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's definitely that aspect of, like we all joke within our own groups about other groups and like, the stereotypes of all the country kids have their big trucks in the parking lot and all that. And it's fun to all be put in a group with these people and like come to understand that they also do the same thing and that they joke about themselves the same way. And it's that dynamic of like the stereotype that's kind of like the funny, big truck, or I brought my Switch with me because I'm a nerd and all that kind. And it's fun. It's fun in the group to have that kind of dynamic of you can joke with each other because it's a kind of a safe environment to do that, and it's just kind of fun.
Very cool. Faith, what do you think?
I agree with like most of that, like, cause I have like a small group of friends that I like hang out, and like most of them graduated or a grade above me, or like one's like Kylie, she's a grade below me, and then Shelby and Bree, like they're in my grade, and I just have like friends like, and they're all kind of like different things. And I think one thing with our group is that I don't know. Well, like Kylie, she's kind of more like part of the Prevs, and she like is really talkative, and like me and her are kind of opposites, and I'm more like quiet. But yeah, like we still have a lot in common, and we still are like each other's best friends, and we like grew up with each other. And even with like Shelby and Bree, like we have like different groups of friends, but like we still all relate and like joke about like other people, like the conch people in the trucks and all that stuff. So
what about with your family then for Mega Powers? Like, what have you noticed, or how's that gone for you in that realm? I guess
I was kind of like Taco. Like at first, I was like I don't really want to do this, but then I like kind of gave it a try. Like after some activities, and like I feel like it kind of grew on me a little bit. Like I kind of like it and like the idea of it, and I think most of them are juniors, but like they're all really nice and friendly, and they're definitely. I have Maddie in my group.
Okay.
I went to prom with her too, and she's also like really nice. And I feel like we all have like some similar like things that we like to do.
That's awesome. So far I'm hearing a lot of like positive things that, and it does take a while to feel comfortable to open up, and I get that because for some people that's not easy to do. Like for me, I'm a little bit of a talker, and I like to just share, and I don't, that's fine. I can be very open very quickly, but that's not everybody. So it's cool to hear that if, at first you might be reserved, and that's fine, but it's nice to know that people are starting to open up and feeling more comfortable and having those things. So that's awesome. Cool.
You know what I think is great about this podcast is because we're talking about families and how we're all so different, but in this podcast, like our cast right now, we're all so different, right? But we're also the same because we want to talk about this one special topic, and we all have different opinions, right? Our opinion so far has been pretty much the same, like pretty positive, but I mean, this is what Mega Powers can do for us, right?
That's
it's
right.
because we're all positive people, we can make a change.
Okay, now that we've been talking about positives, what are some of the negatives of family time? especially that we have a teacher here.
I mean, speaking for some of the class, I know I've heard conversations like, oh, family time is taking away from my study hall, and that's stupid. And I mean, if you're studying for a test, I understand that, but then I think mostly it is more of that positive, because it's not the whole entire class period. The teachers have been really good on working with making sure it's 10 minutes or something like that, so that would be half the time.
Anyone else have anything else they think or want to prove on?
I like family time.
Yeah, it's really good.
And to your point, Harmony, I think we also have tried to tell students, if you need to take a test or you really need to study or you really need to do academics, that's okay. You don't have to do family time today if you don't feel like you have the time for it. And there's no judgment from us. We understand that's a pretty big stressor for some people, and that's a big deal. We want to encourage academics, no question. We don't want you to feel the pressure that you have to put academics aside to do this. If you need to do that, take care of it. And so there's been people that have missed certain family time things because they have other things that they have to take care of. So we don't ever want to pressure you guys into doing something that you don't feel like you have the time for. So, but I appreciate that, because I know that can be tough for some students to maybe feel pressured into, well, I can't do my math right now because I got to do family time. So, yeah. Maybe math was a bad example, but we try to understand, and if people talk to us clearly, we'll be yeah, we get it. Go take care of what you need to take care of. So, yeah. Cool.
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Best memory so far from Mega Powers. Best thing that you've experienced during Mega Powers.
Only thing I really experienced was the DC Ever State when we all took a big group photo. I didn't even do the family photos. I didn't do any of those.
Okay.
So.
You're talking about when we did that group TikTok for.
Yeah,
Wow,
but
we did
we also did a
TikTok.
photo, and it was on the Mega Powers thing.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
the banner.
It was homecoming day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all had DC Ever's clothes.
Yeah, and
A
then
lot
they
of-
all
yeah.
helped me make a TikTok, which was really great.
Yep, I remember that.
You
Yeah,
had
that was
TikTok
cool.
that day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was wild.
What?
Cog, where were you, man?
I was in the back. I was chilling.
Dude, I was almost on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Don't you remember
I
that?
don't.
You didn't even remember that
I just remember
Harmony
the-
wouldn't put her camera on?
On
Oh,
the
when she was
whiteboard.
in front of it and she
Yeah.
jumped out.
Yeah,
the way.
Yeah.
we all, that was, she
Okay.
made a TikTok.
Yep.
Actually, I haven't seen it yet. But
Yeah, me too.
I bet it was probably awesome.
Maybe.
She's got 1 billion views or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
mine is pretty
Roll
good.
it down.
I think that's a little low. We had 1 trillion views.
Hey,
Hey, Doug.
let's welcome Mrs. Wollersheim in.
Woo!
Hey, why don't you sit over here
I
for a
can't
minute?
stay long, actually. So just a quick pop in to say hi.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Who cares if they're testing? You sit in, I'll just sit down for a minute.
Okay.
We gotta end the podcast soon. We're running
I
out
know,
of stuff
we
to talk
are,
about.
but how about, because Dubs just joined us, is there a question that we have for her or a perspective we want to
Let's
get?
have-
pressure.
Let's ask her about why she thought of coming up with it as
Family
families.
time.
Oh, well, so that's a great question. No, so as Hanson Sale and I were kind of diving into the circles of change, work that we were doing, lots of really good conversations, but part of it was, how do we learn the things that we learn, and how do we understand things from multiple perspectives and have empathy for others? And so I think about myself personally and my own experiences growing up, and I was trying to figure out, how is it that I've ended up with, this. I grew up in this perfect childhood, right? My parents, white picket fence and everything.
No
teachers.
Such thing as a perfect.
Yeah, it was crazy, kind of, though. I mean, it
Okay.
really was.
Maybe it
However, with exposure to people who lived and grew up very different from myself, I was able to kind of incorporate their perspective into my understanding of the world. But they were people that I was very close with. My husband, for instance, grew up I mean, like the polar opposite of my life. His childhood was, if you can imagine opposite, it was the opposite. So when I think about my relationship with his family, and how far that's brought me into really understanding the world from a different perspective, I thought, man, it's family. It's the people that we are closest with that change the way we see things, because not only are we more willing to listen to their perspectives and their opinions, we're there to help. We're there to try to see it from their side so that we can do whatever we need to do. So the family time was, well, let's create a group of students that maybe wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity or choose to be together, and let's begin to forge a relationship so that maybe by the end of the year you have a relationship with somebody that you wouldn't otherwise have, because that could lead to some really powerful connections and realizations and perspective changes and empathy, and I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
that was a good response.
Way better than I did.
Yeah.
yeah, way better. Come on,
I mean,
step up
if
your
we're
game.
gonna be real here, she crushed it, and I did not.
That's a lie.
Why weren't you making them take the test?
I know.
We need Mrs. Wilsheimer here.
Yeah.
Agree on that.
My bad, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Dubs.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate
I heard your
you just
voices
as
and I
much,
wanted to
Mr.
come say
Hanson.
Oh, good. So I don't know if we have anything more to talk about.
No, I
Do
think
you guys
that's.
have anything else to talk about?
No, I
Coming back next week.
I think that's
Come
pretty
on
solid.
down next week for podcast
Number
4.
four.
We don't know what-
Quattro.
We don't know
Go
what the
check out our
topic is
Facebook
yet.
page, Mega Powers. Go check out
It's Mega Powers DCE, I think.
it's Mega Powers DCE.
And the YouTube channel,
which is
Mega Powers DCE.
There you go. I'm catching a theme
Any
here.
format, just type in Mega Powers DCE. You'll find something.
I'm
And
sure
then
you
a P
will.
that's green and yellow. That's how you find us.
Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow. Okay. Bye,
There we
everybody.
go.
Bye.